We have long known that Donald Trump has revered the Nazis. He has revered Hitler. He's read his book. He used to say he had it on his nightstand. Donald Trump has had a very sinister philosophy, wanting to be a dictator, absolutely dividing people up based on who they are, based on factors about them that have to do with their race and their gender.
Many of them murdered far more than one person. And they're now happily living in the United States. You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes. And we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
That Donald Trump has revered the Nazis. He has revered Hitler. He's read his book. He used to say he had it on his nightstand. Donald Trump has had a very sinister philosophy, wanting to be a dictator, absolutely dividing people up based on who they are, based on factors about them that have to do with their race and their gender, etc. And when he uses language like this, I don't think that it's a Freudian slip. I think that the danger of a Donald Trump is that he would absolutely try to exterminate an entire group of people because he thinks that their genes are somehow different than his and faulty. And I say this with all the sternness that you hear in my voice because it is serious and Americans should recognize.
I mean, you heard it. He's obsessed with the genetic composition of the murderers and the violent people who are in the country. We do have 13,000 murderers here. We have even more people here who've committed sexual crimes, violent sexual crimes.
What about the genetic composition of murderers here in the United States who are American citizens? What should we do about that?
Fine. I think it's perfectly fine to acknowledge that there is a long body of research that there are some people who are genetically predisposed to violence. But today, there has been an effort to make it seem like Donald Trump is saying something about immigrants when all he is commenting on are the violent murderers who are in the country. It's simply not true what's being said about him today. And I can't believe, honestly, what I'm hearing. I've seen people all day long attacking Trump because he's worried that we have 13,000 violent murderers.
But he's calling attention. There are white people in this country who are committing far more murders than immigrants and other Americans.
There's also white immigrants in the country, too.
The point is that Donald Trump is a white supremacist. He is generating nativist language to appeal to genetic basis of behavior. That is a classic definition. The point is that the discrimination against, to discriminate in terms of distinguishing who's violent and who's not, ends up being, ironically, inadvertently, you wink, wink, tethered to race and to the immigration policy that is premised upon denying the legitimacy of American status to these people. Why is it that we got to pick them out in terms of you're violent because you're Mexican, you're violent because you're Dominican, you're violent because
couldn't we just have a better system where we're able to maybe check?
We tried. Donald Trump killed the bill.
But you all sitting at this table can't
There was a bipartisan bill.
Almost 10 million people for across the country. We have no idea who they are.
Let me give you the political reality that we're in right now in October.
Sure.
Huge majority of the American people believe and know that we have an illegal immigration crisis in this country. Kamala Harris got asked 3 times on national television tonight if it was wrong to change the executive orders the way they did on day one that allowed this huge flood of people to come in. She would not address it because she knows how politically damaging it is. There are people all over this country and every political party and independents too who know full well that if she becomes the president, we're going to have a permissive immigration structure, even more permissive than we had under Biden. And they believe Donald Trump will crack down on this and that he has the common sense viewpoint that, hey, maybe we don't want violent people in here. No, they don't go down the list and say rapist in, rapist in. They just go down the list and say in. Why don't we know if they've been convicted of a crime in another country? It's broken. He will crack down on it. She will not.